Hi, this is week one. I'm going to explain week one and what my expectations are for you to complete this week one module. You're going to take a look at the course overview video. If you have not done that so far, please do that first so you get a better understanding about Ultra Blackboard and this course in Ultra Blackboard, as well as the syllabus, because I do explain the syllabus as well. The second activity, and then you'll look at week one video, which is what you're looking at right now. Then you're going to move into some introductions. You're going to introduce yourself on the Padlet. That is right here at this link. You're going to add a photo of you or a video, it doesn't matter. You're going to add a family artifact, and you're going to talk a little bit about yourself and your artifact. Then you are to complete 2 of your colleagues' postings. So if you post first, you're welcome to comment on mine, but you'll need to find somebody else as well. Try to find people who haven't received a comment yet. I'm going to click on that just so you can see the introductions Padlet. I've already started. This is my husband and myself, and I've talked a little bit about the time I've been at the University of La Verne and what I did prior to coming to the University of La Verne. This is my artifact, which is a book that my grandmother wrote about her life, and about her life as in one particular spot, about her experience teaching in a one-room schoolhouse. To me, it was so fascinating in the hills of Tennessee. It just was a lot of fun of what she had to go through as a teacher. We can't complain at all compared to what she had to go through in those days, but it's quite interesting and I love it very much. Anyways, I'm going to move back. You're going to then read chapters 1 and 2 in the in our social studies books, Dynamic Social Studies. If you need to know more about the book, you look at the video in the course overview, especially, or look at the syllabus. You will find it in the syllabus, and you'll find out how you can either buy it from the textbook store, and it will convert to being electronic in Blackboard here, that you can use that way. You could find it elsewhere buy a used copy, buy a new somewhere else. You could rent it, whatever you want to do using the book. I've added the first chapter here, but I have not added the second chapter, which I will for this week. I will add that too, so you'll have 2. I'm only using copy law rights of the copy law laws, so I will only be able to copy those 2 chapters, nothing else. So you will have to get the book, because we use the book throughout these 8 weeks. Remember, it's only 8 weeks, so it's very intense. You can see several of the activities here, plus a major activity that needs to be completed by next week. But I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. Anyways, after you've read the 2 chapters, we're going to respond to these questions about the qualities of a social studies teacher. Think about what it takes to be a social studies teacher, and you're going to answer these questions. What qualities would you expect a successful social studies teacher to demonstrate? What qualities do you currently possess? What do you think you lack? What are you in the process of developing? So you may already have some really great skills that you are very confident with, or that you feel good about. Talk about that. Talk about ones maybe that you're lacking, and ones that you're in the process of developing, and maybe those are the ones that you're in the process of developing. We're going to focus on objectives and writing lesson plans this week, because later on you will be writing more lesson plans and objectives. So in looking at the objectives and lesson plan folder, and if you had viewed the first video on the course overview, you will know where to find that. And I'll tell you now again, it is in the main menu on the home page of our course. So scroll down till you find the objectives and lesson plan folder, and you'll find a whole bunch of resources in that. I'm going to take you there in just a minute after I've explained a few more things here. So you're going to write an objective in ABCD format. ABCD format is a very easy way to write an objective that's observable and measurable, and it can be, anyone could follow it. So if a parent comes in, you could hand them the objectives. You write an objective so that you can look at the mastery level of what you want your students to do. And if they don't achieve mastery level, then that means you need to go back and reteach. And that's where we have gaps in our learning sometimes. Sometimes we're such in a rush to keep moving ahead to cover content that kids don't master something, and then you don't go back to reteach it as a teacher, and they're lost along the way and they get further behind. So an objective will show you the mastery level. So if you have a student who's not mastering the material and maybe needs more resources or needs an IEP or special services, that you can build that in documentation along the way and say, this is the mastery level. I went back and retaught it. He still didn't achieve it. I'm still struggling with him and helping him be successful in the class. So that's what an objective is, if you did not know that already, and perhaps you have, and perhaps you've written them in other classes. But it is a ABCD format. I want to be able to tell exactly what you want the child or the children to do in the classroom, the students to do, and I want it to be observable and measurable. So now you're going to use a hobby to write your first objective here. Don't write the name of the hobby to see if I can guess it or not. All right? So this is my objective. You're going to tell me what my hobby is, or I'll tell you at the end of it if you don't know. So I wrote, given a stack of new children's literature, the student will be able to select 2 books to be read in free time over the next month. So then I broke down the objective into ABCD. You do not need to do this. If I can't identify each part in just the objective, then I will make a comment to you. So you can do this. You can break your objective down to make sure you've got all 4 parts. That's fine. You do not have to do the second piece here if you're confident that you have all 4 parts. My A is my audience. Who do I want to achieve mastery level? Here, it's the student will be able to. Sometimes it might be a dog trainer. The dog will be able to. It might be an adult program. The adult will be able to. Whatever. It does not always have to be the student, but in this case, it's the student. What's the behavior? What are they going to do? You want them to do? They're going to read 2 books. Okay, is that observable? Sure, because they're going to do it during their free time. I could read 2 books during free time because they're going to read these during their free time, and I'm going to be able to see them reading it. Okay, so it's observable. Is it measurable? It's 2 books. So that's measurable. And I'll show you a little bit more. I even did it over a period of time. So then C is, what's the condition? What tools are you giving the students to make sure that they're successful in trying to achieve this mastery level? I'm giving them a stack of children's books so they can pick 2 books from that. So they might find 2 that look interesting to them to want to read. I'm not just handing them 2 books and saying, these are the 2 books you're going to read. I'm giving them a stack of books because I want them to pick books that they might be more comfortable reading and might be more interested in reading. And my degree, that's my mastery level, are 2 books over the next month. I have 2 degrees here. So you don't have to have 2 degrees. I just happened in this objective to. They're going to read 2 books, and then they're going to do that over the next month. So I'm giving them 30 days. If they can't read 2 books in the next month during free time, then they haven't mastered my mastery level of reading 2 books over the next month. It's just maybe something I want them to do. Maybe it is part of a contest that we're having. Maybe it's just part of some inspiration or some motivation to get them to read more, whatever the case. Okay, so that's my objective. You see all 4 parts there, and you can identify that within the objective without having to break it down into the 4 parts. But I did here. What's my hobby? It's children's literature. I love children's literature. I teach the children's literature course. If you could come to my house, you're always welcome to in Palm Springs. I live just outside of Palm Springs. But if you came to my house, I would take you into my library. And I have probably over 5,000 books, children's literature books. It's just something that I love, and I love to collect it, and I love to use it within. You will be using it here. You'll see me using it here in social studies. And if you take my children's literature course, if you haven't, you know that I have a passion for that. But that's my hobby. Okay, then you're going to write a lesson plan. So you're going to view the video explaining the lesson plan and review the lesson plan template, both in the objectives and lesson plan folder. So then you're going to select a social studies lesson off of being online. And then you're going to modify that plan using our educational studies template. Now you may have some other lesson plan templates you love a lot. We're asking you, while you're in the Educational Studies program, to use the Educational Studies lesson plan template. And I'll show you that when we get to that in just a minute. The last independent activity, now you also have a group activity to do here this week. Your last independent activity is to use the following link right here. And you're going to create a star without measuring and only 1 snip using your scissors. So you're going to take a picture of your star and you're going to post it in the Dropbox. Then what I want you to do is research some information about Betsy Ross. and determine if you found research you've learned, or is this information you found different from what you originally learned about Betsy, if you knew anything about Betsy before. Because there are some conflicting stories about Betsy Ross and creating the first flag, being asked to create the first flag, so check that out for yourself. I want you to share what you've learned. You're going to post your link as evidence of your learning. You probably won't be able to comment on two of your colleagues' postings because I don't think I made that available to you. So please don't worry about that. But do write about some information you found on Betsy Ross. You can still comment on the Padlet. So please don't forget to do that. Now I'm going to take you back to the home page. We're in the weekly lesson modules here. I'm going to click out of that. I'm going to go scroll down to the lesson plans and objectives folder right here, and I'm going to click that open. This is an article about writing using the ABCD model for writing objectives. This is the video to help you write the objectives. These are action verbs for objectives. So you're in there thinking, what's measurable? What can they be doing? What's the action? You don't want a state of being verb. You want an action verb. Now, a list of diverse learners. In the template, it talks a little bit about that. And I'm going to try to get to that in just a second so you have that. These are standards for children's literature because you'll need to know that. And these are ELA Common Core standards for that. This is the new the Educational Studies lesson plan. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. And I'm going to walk through this a little bit with you so you know. So you're going to use this template, and there's a copy of it clear without the red in it, the red suggestions in it. You're going to put your name here. You're going to put the date, the subject of social studies, the title of the course, and then you're going to put the suggested grade level. It may be a couple of grade levels, but pick one grade level. So the first thing you're going to write out the Common Core Standard and a description of the Common Core Standard in which you're designing your instruction for your students. Please do not just put the number for the Common Core, because I will comment on that and tell you that you need to write more. I want you to learn about the standards and what they actually say. Then you're going to write your objective in ABCD format, making sure it's written observable and measurable. Make sure you use A, audience, B, behavior, C, condition, D, degree. Remember those. If you need to look back, you can look back in the model. You can look back in the video there. Then you're going to list the materials for your lesson, just like a recipe. What do you need for this lesson? Then you're going to look at some multiple intelligences and pick one or two. You're going to address how those in this lesson plan. You're going to tell me how those are going to be how you're going to create that, address them in the lesson plan. So please make sure, and if you do not know about multiple intelligence, Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence, Google that and it will come up with it. Don't just think you might know it and pick a couple. Make sure you have the actual multiple intelligence, because I'll be looking for that. But you just need to Google that and you'll find great resources for that. Then you're going to describe any technology you're going to use, that you are going to use or the students. So if you're going to use any websites, if you're going to use any videos, all that goes here. If the students are, you're going to write that in here in this one. Now you move ahead in this lesson plan template into the learning environment. You're going to write about some strategies to meet diversified learners. If you remember back in this folder, there said a list of diversified learners. Click on that. You're going to pick one of those populations. Okay, you'll see it in here, and you're going to pick one and write an accommodation or strategy that you provide in this lesson to assist that student from the diversified learners to be successful. So you're going to pick a diversified learner, not just write, I'm going to follow their IEP. What's in their IEP, if you decide to write that you're going to follow, you're going to address in this lesson to make sure that they are successful. We're going to move into then the instructional plan. You're going to activate some background knowledge. So you're going to begin the lesson with a hook to focus the student's attention on the lesson. It can be something very simple. It can be a KWL chart. It can be, maybe you dress up as a pioneer and you're going to be talking about pioneer days, or maybe you're going to show some photographs of the time that you're going to be talking about. Maybe you're talking about the Civil War, and you might start off, you want them to get them interested, and you want them to think about the topic that you're going to be talking about in this lesson. You're going to instruct them on. All right, and then you're going to create some informal assessment. How will you assess the student's background knowledge or experiences in regards to this topic of the lesson? So will you have a KWL chart? What do the children know already? What do they want to learn? And then at the end of the lesson or the end of the unit, you're going to go over what did they learn and write all the things down that they have learned and maybe have responded to what they wanted to know and what they did know. It does not have to be that formal. It can be observations. You're going to make a list of what the students seem to know. Or you're going to make a list of maybe what the students seem not to know yet. But I would go with based on their strengths and not their deficits. So and you can see that list and point that at all the things that they already know about it. It's an informal assessment. Why are you doing this? I want to need a rationale for why are you activating their background knowledge in the way you're doing it for this lesson. Then you're going to move into the instruction. And when I get to the instructional strategies, provide the steps the teacher and students will use in your instructional plan. This is like the recipe and the steps of a recipe. This is what you're going to start by activating their background knowledge by creating the hook, which was what, and now you're going to move into maybe they're going to watch a video after you get the hook and you've done a little informal assessment of their background knowledge. And you're going to start with or a PowerPoint, and you have some information that you want to give them, or you're going to have them go to a certain website on their Chromebooks, and they're going to investigate that website and start looking at what do they notice in this website about what you're going to talk about. Again, you need an informal assessment. How are you going to assess your students understanding this topic after you've provided the instruction? So here you can put in, I'm going to be observing them while they are working on this. I'm going to walk around and I'm going to provide additional information for them. I'm going to give them some additional feedback. Those are the kind of things you could say. I'm going to partner them up and they're going to talk about what they have learned and what they found. And then you need to write a rationale why you're doing it in this way. If I'm using partners, it's because I want them to have some conversations one-to-one with each other. Maybe I'll put them in small groups and they'll have a discussion in small groups, and that's what. So you're going to write out what you want them to do in this main part of your lesson. Then last but not least, what closure will you use for this lesson? How will the students reflect on what they've just learned? So what kinds of things? Will they take home maybe some homework from that? Maybe they're going to finish up a project that they started working on. Maybe they're going to do an exit ticket to leave the room and they're going to write something down. Maybe they're going to turn to a partner and talk about what they learned. What more do they want to know about? What's your assessment? How are you going to assess this learning in this lesson? How are you going to see that? And you'll see that maybe you will look at the reflections. You'll listen to the reflections and determine if the students have hit the key points that you want them to have had for this lesson. Maybe you'll realize that they still need some more work on this lesson, and you'll need to go back and maybe revisit those things tomorrow in the lesson for tomorrow. Again, you write your rationale for why you are making these decisions. And that is the Educational Studies template. And that's what you're going to turn into me. Now, what I do is I take a look at that. If I see things are in good order, I may put some comments on the side, and I may just give you your grade and move on. If I feel that there's a lot lacking or a lot missing, then I'm going to probably say to you, you need to find a time to Zoom with me or come into my office if you want on Wednesdays when I'm there, and you will then go walk through your lesson. I'll give you all the suggestions I have to make the lesson better. You're more than welcome to resubmit your lesson plan with my suggestions and with the additional information that you need to put in that, and resubmit it for a revisit of your grade and make a change in your grade. But that is the lesson plan, and those in this folder here will have all that information for you. Again, it's on the main menu. I'm going to go back to weekly lessons module here. I'm going to click on you. I have one more thing I need to show you in week 1. It's the group work. Every week there'll be group work. You will not be working with the same people. You'll be working with different people. That's part of my certification as an online teacher, as an instructor who teaches students online. You need to also do some work, so there is some communication. You can communicate through Blackboard by using the messages in here, Blackboard. You can create them through emails, however you want to communicate. If you all want to Zoom and talk about it, you're more than welcome to do that. A lot of different approaches to being able to work with group work. But this week, you're going to select one topic from the list below from Chapter 1. If there are more than 4 members of the group, additional members can select the same topic as another member, and if so desired, work together on that topic. Reread the pages assigned to that topic, select one of the choices to complete for the topic selected, post your work by Wednesday. You're to comment on each of the other members' contributions. So the topics are integrative social studies, those are the pages, or curriculum models, those are the pages, implementing national and professional social studies standards, those are the pages, powerful and purposeful social studies instruction, those are the pages. You could create a virtual visual graphic organizer. You can create a story or poem. You can research our website to support the topic. You can create a game or any other comparable to the above choices. And so you have your own choice, and you're going to comment below. And you're going to post your work, and then you're going to go back and comment on your peers in your group, on all the other members. So if there are 4 other people in your group, you're going to comment on that. If there are 3 others, you're going to comment on that. That's all part of this. You will get 20 points for this piece when you complete this piece, which should be within the first week, and I need to talk to you a little bit about that as well. And also the independent piece, you'll get 30 points. So it's 50 points each week you'll get for participation. That is your attendance. It shows me that you attended that week online and that you have participated in the activities due. If you don't complete one of the activities, it's just less points. You won't get a 0 unless you don't do any work at all, but you'll get points on everything that you complete. So I do want to also share one other thing, and I'm going to put this, I think it's in the announcements as well. In every week, we'll start the Friday before the actual week. I will open it at 11:59 p.m., and then you'll have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday until 11:59. 9 days to complete 1 week. It clicks off at 11:59. I think you can still submit afterwards, but you may not get all the full points if you submit it late. Now, every week overlaps the previous week. So this week, you have until that Sunday. Come next Friday, you click on, you'll see week 2. You can still finish week 1. You still have time, 2 more days if you haven't finished it, and then you can start week 2 right away. It's up to you and what you want to do, but that's how I have set up the weeks and the work you need to do for those weeks. As always, if you have any questions for me, please don't hesitate to ask me, and I'll try to get back to you as quickly as I can. But this is the work for week 1. Now, remember, there's a major assignment due week 2. So I'm going to click out of week 1, and I'm going to go to major assignments. So I'm going to close up this module here. I'm going to go to major assignments. It says here the annual pacing schedule is due week 2. I'm going to click on that. This has all the information about the pacing schedule. This is something that teachers do in the summertime. They usually do it as a team. You're going to be doing it on your own, and you can walk through the explanation. You can also understand. You could pick one of these pacing guides if you'd like, and use them. Do not pick the exemplars. The exemplars are only there to show you, but you can pick one of these, or you can write your own. If you have your own social studies textbook, you can outline it by units and put in what units you're going to do in September, October, November, December. You're going to add activities. You're going to add children's literature. You're going to add standards to that, and you can turn it in. It is a lengthy assignment, so make sure you give yourself enough time to work on it, and you could start now as soon as possible to have it done by the end of week 2, which is that Sunday, like I explained just previously. But also remember, every week an assignment's due. In week 3, the twin text assignment is due. Your cultural learning experience is something that you have to go off physically to do, is due week 4. Your integrated lesson plan assignment, lesson plan is due week 5. Your unit plan, which is a little bit longer, that includes 3 lesson plans and some general information about your unit, is going to be due week 6. And that community service project that I mentioned in the announcements, that's due week 7. I hope you've been going to start working on that immediately so that you don't have all those hours to do just prior to that week. Because it's due week 7. You have also a technology investigation assignment due week 7 as well. So be careful of that. And finally, in week 8, the last week of our session, you're done with me in 8 weeks, is to complete your final exam, your e-portfolio, and your screencast of your e-portfolio. Phew, I know, it's a lot of work. You're probably overwhelmed. Please take it piece by piece. You will get through it. If you have questions, ask me. Do not hesitate to ask me. Otherwise, I'll see you online. I wish you lots of luck, lots of success, and know I'm here for you.